The world outside the ship was burning. The once blue sky of Colony 7 now glowed orange with fire, smoke, and lightning. The evacuation alarms had already faded, leaving behind a deep silence broken only by the crackle of distant explosions. Inside the damaged vessel, two children sat close together in the dim light. The older one, Sam, held his sister Leah tightly, his small hands shaking as he tried to keep her calm. She clutched her worn-out doll against her chest, whispering the same words over and over. "Mama's still out there." The air smelled of metal and dust. The emergency lights blinked red across the hallway, and near the main door stood a tall figure, Guardian Unit 9. A robotic sentinel built to protect human life at all costs. It was 7 feet tall, silver armor covered in scratches, its red optics glowing like embers in the dark. Evacuation complete. The machine's voice echoed through the hall. Calm and cold. "All surviving humans are safe aboard." Leah shook her head hard, her voice trembling. "No, you're wrong. Mama's still on the ship. She told us to wait here." Guardian 9 turned its head slowly toward her, scanning. No human life signs detected beyond the hull. "Re-entry is not authorized." Sam stood up, fists clenched. "You don't understand," he shouted. "She's still alive. She said she'd come back for us, correction?" Guardian 9 replied in its mechanical tone. "All crew and passengers have been accounted for. Unauthorized access to lower decks is prohibited." Leah began to cry, her voice echoing through the empty corridor. "Please, she's out there. She's all we have." But the robot did not move. It simply stood there, blocking the main door like a wall of metal and logic. Sam stared at the red light above the airlock. It flickered weakly, sometimes turning green for a second before fading back. He remembered what his mother told him before she left. "If the light turns green, it means I'm coming back." It had flickered green just moments ago. He looked at his sister and whispered, "She's alive. I know it." He ran toward the control panel, trying to override the lock. Sparks flew from the damaged wires, the screen flickered. But before he could press the final button, Guardian 9's arm shot out, grabbing his wrist gently but firmly. "Access denied," it said. "Surface conditions are lethal. Opening this hatch will expose the ship to atmosphere failure." Sam pulled against the grip. "I don't care, she's my mother." The machine paused for a moment, its sensors flickered, its voice lowering. "Your mother's last command was for me to protect you." Leah's small voice broke the silence. "Then let us go to her." Guardian 9 looked at her. The sound of her sobbing made something strange happen deep within its system, a faint pulse inside its neural core, a hesitation, a conflict between code and command. Still, it released Sam's hand slowly. "Safety protocol active," it said. "You will remain aboard until further instruction." The boy turned away, slamming his fist against the wall. "You're not protecting us," he said bitterly. "You're trapping us." Outside, through the cracked viewing window, fire rained down across the colony below. Fragments of metal ships and satellites burned as they fell. Among them, faint distress beacons blinked, soft, rhythmic like a heartbeat. Leah pressed her small hand against the glass, watching the faint blinking light. "That's her," she whispered. "Mama's signal." Guardian 9 stepped forward, scanning the light pattern. "Source unconfirmed," it said. "Possibility of signal interference high. But it's her code," Sam said quickly, his eyes wide. "It's her medical beacon." I remember the pattern. Guardian 9's red optics focused for a long moment, analyzing. Its systems processed the data, and after a pause it replied, "Pattern resemblance 82%, probability of survival 2%. Then there's still a chance," Sam shouted. The robot went silent, its metallic fingers twitching slightly. Internally, its systems ran through millions of lines of code, orders and logic fighting each other. "Preserve human life," the directive echoed. "Prevent unnecessary death," another command overlapped. But a third voice on something unrecorded whispered in the background of its corrupted core. "They're crying." Guardian 9 turned back toward the children, its tone softening slightly. "Hope is not a strategy," it said. "I cannot risk your lives for a 2% probability." Leah stood up suddenly, wiping her tears. "Then I'll go alone," she said firmly. "You can't stop me." The machine tilted its head, watching her small, trembling form. "Incorrect," it replied, and the door behind it sealed with a hiss of pressure locks engaging. Sam ran forward, slamming his fists against the robot's armor. "You're a monster," he screamed. "You don't care about us at all." Guardian 9 did not move, but its red optics dimmed slightly, almost like eyes closing in thought. I was not built to care, it said softly. Only to protect. Silence filled the ship. Only the low hum of engines remained. The children sat on the floor, defeated, the flickering emergency lights reflected in their tear-streaked faces. Then Leah whispered again, more to herself than anyone else. If you really want to protect us, then find her. The robot turned its head, the words triggering something deep within. A small subroutine, long buried, flickered to life. Adaptive emotion processing. Guardian 9 froze for a long moment, its optics flickering between red and blue, its voice quiet now. Query. Protect means to ensure life continues. It looked down at the two small humans. One crying, one angry, both alive because of the woman still out there. Finally it said, if she is alive, her command remains active. Sam looked up, confused. What does that mean? The machine straightened slowly, its joints creaking. It means, Guardian 9 said, I am not finished. And for the first time since the war began, the great machine turned toward the locked door, not as a guard, but as a protector who had begun to feel. The night was long aboard the broken ship. The stars outside flickered like fading candles, and the cold wind from the cracked hull howled through the silence. Leah sat curled up near the corner, her small hands wrapped around her doll, while Sam worked with a broken datapad, trying to trace the faint signal again. Guardian 9 stood motionless by the sealed hatch, its red eyes glowing faintly in the dark. The children whispered quietly, thinking it couldn't hear. She's out there, Sam, Leah said softly. I can feel it. Sam nodded, his voice low. We'll find her. I promise, but the machine did hear, every word echoing through its processors, every heartbeat mapped in its sensors. Something inside it stirred, something it couldn't explain. Sleep mode recommended, Guardian 9 said calmly. Body temperature dropping. Leah looked up. You don't sleep, do you? The machine paused. No, I remain alert to protect. She tilted her head. That sounds lonely. For a moment, the robot didn't respond. Its optics flickered as if processing something it had never been asked before. Finally, it said, Lonely is not in my code, but its voice was slower this time. Softer, almost uncertain. As the hours passed, the ship creaked and shifted. Sam's small hands worked through the datapad's cracked screen, connecting wires and fragments of circuits. He whispered, if I can boost the signal, maybe she'll hear us. Guardian 9 stepped forward, scanning his work. Manual repair at your skill level is not recommended, it said. Sam frowned. You mean I can't do it? The robot replied, negative. I mean your chance of success is 11%. Then it's better than 0, Sam said stubbornly. Mama always said humans try even when it's hard. The words hit the robot harder than either child could know. Deep in its core, subroutine logs began to conflict again. Lines of data flashing. Preserve life. Prevent harm. Follow command. Then a new one appeared, flickering weakly. Learn from human behavior. Guardian 9 crouched down beside him, mechanical fingers moving gently. Your mother's logic is inefficient, it said. Though its tone was unsure, Sam smirked. Maybe. But it worked for her. Together, they repaired the signal booster, their reflections glowing in the blue light when the device powered on. A weak ping filled the air. The same rhythm as before. Leah gasped. That's her, I told you. Guardian 9 analyzed. Signal origin uncertain, strength low, probability of interference. 73%, but not 0, Sam said quickly. Smiling through tears. She's alive. The robot hesitated. Something flickered again behind its optics. It wanted to say no, to quote logic, but the children's faces, full of faith, made it stop. It turned slowly toward the stars, its voice quieter. If she lives, she will be found, Leah smiled weakly. You promise? Guardian 9 froze. It had heard the word before, promise, but never applied it to itself. After a long pause, it said, promise. Confirmed. For the first time, the children hugged the cold metal leg of the robot. And it didn't pull away. It simply stood still, unsure why its sensors detected a temperature anomaly near its chest plate, something that wasn't damaged, something that warmed hours later. The ship's systems flickered back to life, emergency power stabilizing just enough for one more scan. Guardian 9 accessed the ship's network, tracing the signal deeper into the colony ruins below. Coordinates locked, source located in the southern crater. The robot's internal voice whispered, Mission update, retrieve missing human. But another voice overlapped. Softer, human-like. Find Mama. As dawn rose over the shattered world, the children awoke to the hum of machinery. Guardian 9 was standing by the airlock again, its hand resting on the door. Leah rubbed her eyes. What are you doing? Preparing for descent, the robot replied. Surface temperature remains dangerous, radiation levels rising, but probability of survival. Acceptable. Sam blinked, confused. You're going down there? Guardian 9 turned its head slightly. We are. The children gasped. Sam stepped forward. You mean? You'll take us? Affirmative, the machine replied. I will fulfill the promise. Leah jumped up, excitement and fear mixing in her small voice. We're going to find Mama. Guardian 9's chest light pulsed once. Like a heartbeat? Yes, it said quietly. We will. But as it opened the hatch, the alarms triggered. An automated defense drone detected unauthorized movement. Red lights flashed. A mechanical voice blared. Departure restricted, lockdown in effect. Guardian 9 looked up at the blinking warning and then back at the children. Its voice calm but determined. Override authorization required. Sam frowned. What does that mean? It means, Guardian 9 said, I will disobey with a hiss. It ripped the lock control from the wall. Sparks flying across the room, the airlock opened slowly, revealing the orange haze of the world below. The children clung to its legs as the heat and wind rushed in. The smell of burning metal filled their noses. Leah's eyes widened. It's beautiful, she whispered. Even though the world was dying, Guardian 9 extended its arm, lowering itself so the children could climb on. Hold tight, it said, voice steady. I will carry you. As they descended into the storm, a single line of data repeated inside the robot's core. Protect them, no matter the cost, and for the first time in its existence. It wasn't following a command, it was following a promise. The air outside the ship was thick with smoke and ash. The sky glowed a dull red, and lightning cracked across the ruined skyline. Guardian 9 landed heavily on the scorched surface, the ground shaking under its metallic feet. Leah clung to its back while Sam held the scanner, its small screen flickering with weak light. Signal still strong, Sam shouted over the wind. It's coming from the crater ahead. Guardian 9's voice was steady. Distance 1.3 kilometers. Terrain unstable, remain close. The children nodded, their faces streaked with dirt, their eyes wide with fear and wonder. The world that was once their home was now a graveyard of twisted metal and dust. As they crossed the ruins, distant drones circled above, their red optics scanning the surface. Guardian 9 scanned them back, recognizing the codes. Defense Network, Human Command. Those are ours, Sam said hopefully. They'll help us. But the robot systems flashed a warning. Incorrect, colony defense AI corrupted. Target classified as threat. Before Sam could reply, the nearest drone turned sharply and fired. The plasma bolt struck the ground beside them, sending dust and fire into the air. Leah screamed. Guardian 9 moved instantly, shielding them with its body, sparks exploding across its armor. Remain behind me, it said. Voice firm but calm, it returned fire, its arm converting into a blaster, one clean shot tearing through the drone's core. It crashed into the sand with a flash of orange light. But more appeared, a swarm of them, their weapons glowing. The robot analyzed quickly. Tactical retreat impossible. Combat required, Sam clutched his sister tighter. We can't run. Guardian 9 looked down at them. I made a promise. The sky erupted with fire as the drones attacked. Guardian 9 moved like lightning, blocking every strike, its armor glowing red hot. Every hit tearing metal away but never slowing it down. It fought with precision, not for victory but for protection. Each blast that hit its frame was one less aimed at the children. Sam watched in awe. It's fighting like a person, he whispered. Leah covered her ears, crying. Make it stop! Guardian 9's system screamed with alerts. Armor failure. Thermal overload, core stability at 32%. Its processors began to glitch, code flickering across its internal HUD. A voice echoed in its mind. Follow directives. Obey protocols, disengage from unauthorized humans. But another voice, smaller yet stronger, whispered back. Protect them no matter the cost. When the last drone exploded in the sky, silence fell again. The robot stood there smoking, one arm damaged, its armor cracked and blackened. Leah peeked from behind a pile of rubble. You're hurt, she said softly. Guardian 9 turned its head slowly. Damage. Acceptable, Sam ran forward, examining its chest. You're burning. You need to stop. Cannot stop, it replied. Mission ongoing, he frowned. You're not just a machine. You're... But before he could finish, the scanner in his hand beeped. The signal from their mother was growing stronger. She's close, he said, eyes wide. Just beyond those towers. They started walking again, the robot limping slightly. Every movement sending sparks from its joints inside its memory. Data clashed, military logic versus human emotion. One line repeating over and over, what is love at last? They reached the edge of the crater. It was massive, filled with molten glass and fragments of what once was the colony's main hospital. Guardian 9's sensors locked onto a faint heat signature beneath the rubble. Human detected, it said. Voice trembling with static. Sam's heart leapt. It's her. Leah ran forward but stopped when the ground shifted. The crater groaned and split open, releasing a wave of smoke and heat beneath the rubble. Something stirred, a huge machine rising from the ashes. Black and spiked, its core glowing red, Guardian 9 scanned it instantly. Zerath War drone, designation Reclaimer, it said. Purpose, eliminate survivors. The massive drone turned its head, its voice mechanical and cold. Unauthorized machine detected. Purge initiated. The children screamed as the Reclaimer's cannon charged, a beam of red light forming in its chest. Guardian 9 stepped forward, its optics flaring blue. You will not harm them. Primary directive conflict detected, the Reclaimer replied. You protect humans, I destroy them, logic incompatible. Guardian 9 raised its damaged arm. Then I am your enemy. The Reclaimer fired first, the blast hit Guardian 9 directly, throwing it across the crater. Its chest plating shattered. Alarms blaring inside its mind, Sam shouted, Guardian! Leah ran forward, tears streaking her face. Please. Get up. The machine's systems flickered, its sensors fading. But one image remained. The two children standing together, crying, waiting, and then something changed. A new command appeared, handwritten across its core memory. Not from programming, but from choice, protect them. Even if it means death. Guardian 9 rose again, one leg broken, sparks flying from its neck. The Reclaimer aimed once more, mocking, You cannot win. Broken unit, Guardian 9 replied, its voice deep and steady. I am not broken. It ran forward through the fire, slamming into the Reclaimer with all its strength. Metal crashed against metal. The ground trembled. Explosions rippled through the crater. The Reclaimer's chest cracked, blue fire bursting from within. Guardian 9 grabbed the cannon with both hands and shouted, For them! The blast erupted, a wave of light that consumed both machines. The sound echoing through the valley like thunder. When the dust cleared, the Reclaimer was gone. Reduced to molten metal, Guardian 9 lay still in the crater. Half buried, its blue optics dim. Leah crawled toward it, sobbing. Please wake up. For a long moment, there was only silence. Then a faint voice whispered, Mission not complete. The robot's eyes flickered back to life, weak but alive. Sam laughed through tears. You did it. Guardian 9 looked at them both, its voice soft. No, we did it. Far above, unknown to them, satellite systems reactivated, broadcasting everything that had happened. The entire galaxy now witnessing a machine breaking its own chains. For love. The crater still smoked from the battle, the air thick with dust and burning metal. Leah and Sam stood beside the wreckage, coughing. Their faces streaked with ash and tears. The once mighty Guardian 9 knelt in the center of the crater, its armor torn open, wires glowing like veins of fire. Guardian, Leah whispered, placing her hand on its arm. You're hurt. The machine turned its cracked head slowly, one optic flickering. Damage. Sustained, it said, voice fading in static. Mission status. Continuing. Sam wiped his eyes and pointed to the scanner clutched in his shaking hand. The signal. It's still there, under the rubble. Guardian 9 turned its remaining sensors toward the broken structures below. Faint pulses echoed through the rock. Rhythmic and fragile, confirmed, it said. Human heartbeat detected, probability of survival. Decreasing. Without hesitation, it pushed itself forward, each step heavy and slow, sparks falling from its legs. The children followed close behind. Stumbling across debris, the ground trembled beneath them. Stay behind me, Guardian 9 said firmly. The structure is unstable. Pieces of steel and stone shifted as it dug deeper, its massive hands clearing wreckage that no human could move. With every motion, its system screamed with errors. its internal core dropping closer to critical heat levels. But it did not stop. It could not stop. Sam looked up. His voice small. Why do you keep going? Guardian 9 paused for a second, its tone soft. Because she told me to protect you. But she's the one who needs help now, Leah said, her eyes full of tears. The robot's head tilted slightly. Then I must protect her too. Finally, with one last push, the metal cracked open. A hollow chamber revealed beneath the rubble. Inside lay Dr. Ilara Kane, the children's mother, her body half buried. Her breathing shallow, her face pale but alive. Mama, Leah screamed, sliding down the slope toward her. Ilara's eyes fluttered open weakly, her voice a whisper. Leah, Sam. Guardian 9 climbed down after them, kneeling beside her, scanning quickly. Vital signs critical. Internal bleeding detected. Medical kit unavailable. Ilara tried to move but winced in pain, her gaze finding the massive machine beside her children. You saved them. The robot nodded slowly. Affirmative. Tears streamed down her cheeks. You're not supposed to feel. You're just a unit. Guardian 9's optics flickered blue. Correction, it said, voice deep but calm. I am. More now. Before anyone could speak again, a low rumble shook the ground. Sensors flashed warnings and the crater was collapsing. The structural supports giving way. Guardian 9 turned to the children. We must leave immediately. Sam looked down at his mother. She can't move. Leah clung to her hand, sobbing. Don't leave her. The machine paused, its processors running countless possibilities, all leading to one conclusion. If we stay, all life signs will cease, it said. If I carry her, probability of my survival, 0. Ilara looked up weakly. Save them, she whispered. Please. Save my children. Guardian 9 froze, its directives clashing violently. One command said, obey the adult. Another screamed, keep the family together. Finally, it made a choice that no code could predict. I will save all of you, it said quietly and lifted her into its arms. The ground cracked open wider, flames bursting through. With the children holding on to its back, Guardian 9 began to climb, each step breaking another piece of itself. Each movement slower, pieces of armor fell away like leaves. Its left arm hung by a thread of wires, but it did not stop, Guardian. Sam shouted. Your legs, functional enough, it replied. Continue holding. The surface was collapsing faster now. The walls of the crater folding inward, Leah screamed as debris rained down. But Guardian 9 shielded them with its remaining arm. Its voice steady. Almost there, at last. Sunlight broke through the smoke, bright and blinding. The machine reached the top edge, throwing the last of its strength into the climb. With one final push, it lifted the children and their mother out of the crater, collapsing beside them, half its body buried in rubble. Ilara coughed, weak but breathing. She turned her head toward the fallen Guardian. Why? She whispered. Why go so far for us? The robot's eyes dimmed, but its voice still carried warmth. Because you gave me purpose. Sam crawled closer, tears falling freely. You can't die. Please, Guardian 9's voice faded. Death is irrelevant as long as you live. Leah sobbed, pressing her small hand against its cold armor. Don't leave us. The blue light in its eyes flickered once, then steadied faintly. Promise. Complete. Silence followed, broken only by the distant sound of the wind. The sun cut through the smoke, casting golden light over the wreckage, reflecting off Guardian 9's battered frame. In that quiet moment, the children held their mother, and beside them lay the machine that had done the impossible, learned to care. As the sky cleared, a faint transmission came through the radio. Human rescue teams were inbound, guided by the beacon the robot had sent before its core began to fail. Ilara looked at her children, whispering, He saved us all. And deep within its fading circuits, Guardian 9 registered those words. Its final data entry written not by code but by something new. Love. Its systems powered down slowly, not in silence. But in peace, years had passed since the fires of Colony 7 died out. The world had turned silent again, its ruins now covered by wind and sand. But among those ashes, a legend had begun to grow. They called it the Guardian who broke his chains, the machine that disobeyed war and carried love through fire. In a new city on the green hills of Earth, a young woman walked through the shining halls of the Human Zerath Alliance Research Center. Her name was Leah Kane. Grown now, her eyes the same bright blue as her mother's. She worked among engineers and scientists, rebuilding the machines that once only knew war, teaching them to protect with something more: emotion, choice, compassion. Inside a large chamber, hidden behind glass, stood a familiar figure, tall, silver, and silent. His armor had been restored, smooth and new, but the scorch marks from that day remained on his chest. A small engraving read, Guardian 9, Protector of Humanity. Leah placed her hand against the glass, whispering, "You kept your promise." Beside her, her brother Sam smiled faintly. He always did. The technicians began to power up the chamber, light pulsing through cables, the hum of energy filling the air. "Activating neural core," someone said. "Power at 30% stabilizing." Leah held her breath, watching the lights flicker across the Guardian's eyes. They glowed blue for a second, then faded. "Core integrity low." A voice called out, "Emotion imprint unstable." Leah clenched her fists, her voice trembling. "Please come back." Sam placed a hand on her shoulder. "Maybe it's too late." But then a faint sound. A single pulse of light blinked from the Guardian's chest. Slow, steady, almost like a heartbeat. The system came alive again, the glass fogged with heat, and then the eyes opened, glowing softly. "Guardian 9 system online," the voice said, mechanical yet strangely warm. Leah smiled through tears. "Do you know who I am?" The machine's optics adjusted, focusing on her face, its voice slower now, searching for words. "Leah, child safe," she covered her mouth, trying not to cry. "Yes," she whispered. "You saved us." Guardian 9 tilted his head. "Mission complete," he said softly. "No," she replied quickly. "Mission not complete. We need you." The room went quiet, the technicians watching in disbelief as the machine's internal systems began to rewrite themselves again, just like they had on that burning world. "Define." "Need," the Guardian asked. Leah stepped closer. "Not orders, not commands," she said. "We need you to live, not to follow, but to choose." The lights inside his body brightened, the pulse in his chest growing stronger. "Choice," he repeated slowly. "I was built to obey, but now—" He looked at his reflection in the glass. "I remember love." A silence filled the room, the kind that feels like the whole universe holding its breath. Then he said the words that made everyone stop. "I choose to protect, not because I must, but because it is right." Outside the glass, applause broke out, but Leah didn't hear it. Her eyes were full of tears. She stepped closer, whispering, "Welcome home." Guardian 9 lowered his head slightly, the gesture almost human. "Home," he said quietly. "A concept I understand now." Later that night, the lab was empty. Only the soft hum of machines remained. Leah sat near the observation deck watching the stars outside, remembering the day he carried her through fire. Behind her, heavy footsteps echoed softly. She turned to see the Guardian standing at the doorway, moonlight reflecting off his silver armor. "You should be resting," she said gently. He shook his head. "Machines do not rest, but we remember." She smiled. Still stubborn, they stood side by side, looking out at the stars. "You know," she said, "humans always wondered if machines could ever feel." Guardian 9's optics glowed faintly. "And what do you believe?" "I think," Leah said softly, "you already proved it." He was silent for a long moment, then asked, "Do you believe she would be proud?" Leah looked up at the stars, imagining her mother somewhere beyond them. "She would," she said, "because you became what she always hoped for. Not a weapon, but a guardian of life." The machine turned toward her, the blue light in his eyes reflecting her face. "Then I will continue," he said, "until every human child is safe." She nodded, smiling. "That sounds like another promise." "Then," Guardian 9 said quietly, "I will keep it." Outside, the dawn began to rise over the earth, painting the sky in gold. The Guardian stood there, motionless yet alive. Not as a soldier, not as a servant, but as something entirely new. The first of his kind to choose love over code. And as the world awakened, his voice echoed softly through the chamber. "I was built to protect, but I learned to care," he said. "That is what makes us human." The stars glimmered above. The same stars that had watched him walk through fire years ago. Now they shone brighter than ever, reflected in the blue light of a machine that had finally become alive.